Hi everyone, so my name is Jordan. I am the sports therapist at Physio-logical, and I've been asked to come on and talk about exercises, strength and conditioning exercises for people that may be experiencing niggles and just want to prevent things from happening. So what I'm going to go through is exercises from the ankle to the shoulder, so it gives you a range of things that you can do without boring you for a very long period of time. So, first things first, for me personally, a very good way of maintaining your feeling at the moment and reducing down niggles is increasing your mobility or maintaining your mobility and flexibility before even discussing strength exercises. Mobility is very, very simple. As long as you keep exposing the body to the end ranges of your movement, so for example the shoulder going right up, right back, and right up and back down, it keeps that movement fluid and smooth, so that one day you don't wake up with a reduced range of motion and feel really stiff and achy. The more you keep your movement up, the better. That includes like lumbar spine, for example, bending down, touching your toes, coming back up, making sure you expose yourself to the different areas that you can go to at different joints in the body. So, mobility first. Strength exercises definitely help in preventing injuries and in reducing down niggles and aches and pains. So first of all, we're going to start with the ankle, and the ankle is very, very easy to do some exercises around. You don't need any equipment for it, other than a wall or a chair to balance on. So I'm going to go through two exercises. The first one, and I highly recommend for ankles and just for your general day-to-day health and well-being, is ensure that you do some proprioceptive exercises, so working on your balance to avoid falls and tripping over, so that when you step on an unstable surface, your ankle is nice and secure, it knows where it is, and so it can support you through that movement of walking over gravel, for example, or running off-road, and ensuring that if you step on a stone, for example, you're not going to roll your ankle. Very easy way of doing it. You can do this when brushing your teeth or making a cup of tea, for example. All you need to do, stand on one foot with a slight knee bend. So if I stand sideways, you'll be able to see that my right knee bends a little bit, so I'm not on a straight leg. And that allows me then to stand on a single leg and have all the muscles working for me that we need to have in order to stay balanced. And the more we train this, the more stable we will be when we go into unstable surfaces or we walk on uneven ground. All you need to do is hold for 30 seconds and repeat 3 to 4 times. You can do that on both legs, for example. So if you're really nervous to start with, you can just start with a double leg. You're not going to go anywhere, so you can go to a single leg. Have something around you to make sure that you are nice and stable and you're not going to fall over. Ways of then challenging yourself even more is close your eyes, ensuring that you then hold that balance. It makes it harder for 30 seconds. You can start at 15 seconds, for example, and then you can build up. The next way in which you can do it is grab a towel or a pillow, for example, place that on the floor, make sure your foot is in the middle of it. It then creates an unstable surface for you to stand on, making it harder again. And again, build up the time like you would when you start out the exercise of trying to get up to 30 seconds, repeating 3 to 4 times. The second exercise for the ankle is going to be calf raises. The calf is a very dominant muscle in and around the ankle. It helps us propel when we walk and run. A very easy way of doing this is by doing calf raises. You can do these double leg or single leg. I'd advise you to start double leg because it's easier and there's less load over one muscle group. So I'm just going to grab this chair for balance. And as you can see, I'm going to start shoulder width apart. I want you to go up onto the big toe and the toe next to it. So what I would like to see is you go straight up onto the big toe and toe next to it. And back down, nice and slowly. And what I don't want to see when you go to do it is you go over the toes on the outside, you start to roll your ankles out sideways. We need to keep the ankles nice and straight to target the calf musculature as much as possible. You can then go to a single leg, which is really simple, really straightforward. put all your weight onto one leg and do the same thing. It becomes a lot harder because you've got all your body weight on one leg, but it's a lot more functional to day-to-day activities. Nice and slowly, nice and controlled. What you can then go on and do is look at rep ranges and adding external weight. So if that's very, very easy for you, you could grab a bottle of milk, a bottle of water, something to add a bit of weight, a couple of books in a rucksack, and do double leg calf raises with some added weight. Rep ranges vary. If you're looking to increase strength with increased weight, you're going to reduce those rep numbers down, looking to around about 6 to 8 repetitions. If you just want to work for endurance and ensure that the muscle stays nice and healthy and nice and strong, you're looking around 12 to 15 repetitions, repeating 2 to 3 times. So, they're 2 really key exercises for in and around the ankle in my opinion. What I would then do is look at the knee. Okay, so knee is very simple. It's a joint that only does 2 actions. It does extension and flexion. We can work this in a very nice movement pattern called a squat. You don't have to do a full squat, but as long as you go and get this knee bend and come back up, strengthen it, squeezing the quads, squeezing the glutes when you come back up, very nice and simple. Again, you can do this on a single leg action and just do a mini single leg squat. I'm just going to hold the chair for balance, but we just come down and back up. So all my body weight is then going through the right side. Very nice exercise for proprioception, so your balance, for your knee strength and knee control, because what we don't want to see is your knee dropping in sideways like this. We want to keep it nice and straight over our toes. So again, you don't want to see this action, you want to see this action. And when we do a double leg squat, we want to see this action with our knees nice and apart. We don't want to see this action where our knees come in and squint. Okay, we want to stay nice and apart, driving our knees out sideways if anything. Knees in a nutshell. Squats are very good for that, but what else you can do is a leg extension. So if you don't have a band, I would go to the single leg squat that I've just discussed. If you do have a band, you can tie it around the chair leg to your ankle and start doing some leg extension exercises of straightening your leg out, squeezing at the top. If you don't have a band, you can do it without a band and just ensure you have a nice good squeeze at the top and back down. Engaging that quadricep the whole time so that you support and strengthen your knees. So, we've done ankle, we've done knee. The main one in which people will be looking at for exercises is in and around the glutes and the lower back. The glutes stabilise the lumbar spine. They really do support our lower backs. They are the strongest muscle in the body, they're the biggest muscle in the body, and half the time they're not doing as much work as they should be. A very, very easy exercise for you to do to support your lumbar spines and get some good glute strength is a sit to stand. This is an exercise which you can just put into your daily routine. You don't need to overly think about it, but if you get it into your daily routine, the glute musculature will start to work in your favour. Very easy exercise, and you can just implement this of getting up out of a chair at work, at home. The hardest place would be out of a sofa, so don't try and do it there because it's too low. But if I just grab this chair and I sit sideways, what we want to see is you stand up very nicely. We don't want to see hands pushing us up, leaning forwards too much. What we want to see, I'm going to put my arms across my chest just to show you via an example. If I put my arms across my chest, feet shoulder width apart, weight into my heels, and then push into my heels and stand up. What I don't want to see is that. What I do want to see is that. So you should be able to see a difference between this, which is me leaning forwards, and that, which is me standing upwards. So I don't want that. We'd like to see that. That engages our glute musculature a lot, and also that will then in turn help stabilise our lower back and our core. Okay? Very simple exercise. Other exercises you can do around the glute musculature are leg raises, side lying leg raises. look a little bit like this. So if I lie on my side, my body weight is towards the front of me. If anything, I'm going to roll forwards. I then have my hips forwards, keeping my legs straight. I just do small raises out here on the side. So you should feel this in your bottom, in your glutes. If that's too hard or you feel too much of a burn and it's not comfortable, you can bend your knees and do it in a shortened position, which becomes easier, which we call a clam. Keep our feet together and our body weight forwards so that we're not rocking back towards the wall, we're rocking forwards if I'm going to fall over. Okay, so that's an alternative to the long leg raise here. We're then going to have two exercises for your lower back and your core. Okay, one is a progression of the other. So the first one is what we call toe taps, and all you need to do is lie on your back. Okay, we lie on our backs, ensuring that our back is in contact with the ground the whole time. From there, I'm going to raise my legs and hold them into this position, and then all I do is tap my toes down. Very good for engaging the core and controlling what we call our lumbar pelvic position. To make this harder and going into a progression of this exercise, we get into the same position here and then put our arms up in the air. What we're going to do is alternate our arms and legs. So we're going to take one leg down and take the opposite arm back, ensuring our back is in contact with the ground the whole time. Come back, swap over. This is what's known as a dead bug. It's a progression from the toe taps because we have more limbs moving, and also having a longer lever because we're extending our leg and our arm out. A very, very good exercise for controlling our lumbar pelvic positioning, which is our pelvis to our lower back. And it also allows for the core to start to stabilise around our lumbar spine. This becomes a very good exercise for our lower back patients. So we've gone through ankle, knee, glutes and lumbar spine. Lastly, I want to just go over a couple of exercises for the shoulder. So we see a lot of patients that complain of shoulder pain. Normally, we see a lot of patients with what you might know as a rotator cuff issue, which is the musculature on the back of the shoulder that actually stabilises our shoulder. It works in 99% of the movements that we use our shoulder for. They are always working on the back of our shoulder to stabilise or to move our arm. So, two exercises to keep your shoulder as stable, as controlled, and reduce down as many niggles as possible, other than mobility, is a row and a lateral raise. So, the lateral raise has been shown to really engage the rotator cuff. So all you do is, I'm going to do it without the band first and show you that this is the action that I'm doing. I always see my hand out the corner of my eye. I'm not sideways where I can't see my hand anymore. So with a band, it looks a bit like this. So I can always see my hand out the corner of my eye. It's around about 45 degrees between, so from the front to 45 degrees and no further than that, so I can't see it. So that's the lateral raise. The other exercise that I have for the shoulders is known as a low row. The reason why I want to give this exercise is I see a lot of patients that complain about pain in and around this area of their spine, and they say it's just under my shoulder blade, I can't release it, but they're also 9 times out of 10 have a little bit of a rounded shoulder posture. What we also want to work with, no posture is better than another, there's no static posture we want to put you in, but we do want to avoid this round shouldered look. A lot of you are working from home at the moment, so that would be from this, being at a laptop. if you start to engage the back musculature and some muscles around the shoulder, we can start to change that appearance and get the right muscles working for you to at least aid this type of feeling, okay? So a very good exercise for that is a low row. Normally I would trap this in a door and have somebody standing up and then pulling from there, but I'm going to show you how you can do an alternative on the floor. So the band goes around my feet, and then I hold the band in my hands here. I'm sat nice and upright, and all I do is pull, squeeze my shoulder blades together, and have my elbows nice and close to my body. My hands are lower than my chest because this is known as a low row, and I'm pulling my shoulder blades together. If I do that from a front on view, you'll be able to see that my elbows stay nice and close to my body. I don't want to see this. They stay nice and close to my body and have a nice squeeze between my shoulder blades. If you don't have a band, you can alternatively do this with 2 equal weights in one in each hand, whether that is a bag full of books in each hand, and you can bend over slightly. So I'm going to do it with the band just to example. Bend over slightly and do the same thing here. So this is a nice low row exercise, supporting the thoracic spine, the shoulders, and it's going to prevent those little niggles that people feel in between the shoulder blades that we see quite often in clinic. So we've gone through ankle, knee, glutes, lumbar spine and shoulder exercises. Remembering that with anything that you take up, always seek the advice from a medical professional, whether that's a physio, sports therapist, whoever is qualified in ensuring that you'll be safe to do these exercises. But these exercises are ones that we give to patients to help reduce down niggles, reduce down aches and pains, and ensure that they are stronger for longer. So we started with balance exercises and then went into strength exercises. And I also discussed at the beginning about mobility and how key keeping your mobility and your flexibility is to ensure that your niggles reduce and that your aches and pains reduce. So I've been Jordan from Physio-logical. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I shall reply to them as soon as I can. Have a lovely day, guys.